Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to react to the one-eyed scout who liberated a whole town by himself. Just one guy against a whole town. Okay, I'm guessing this has to do with World War II, and I think he is Canadian. So before we start, do not forget to leave a like if you enjoyed the video, comment on what you want to see next, and subscribe to the channel for more content. And thank you for the support and thank you for being here. Let's grow together. Let's get into the video.
Leo Major, the one-eyed scout who liberated a whole town by himself. World War II.
Yep.
In World War II, for the Canadian effort, one soldier stands out from all the rest. Leo Major. He was a French-Canadian from Montreal, Canada. In 1940.
So about like French Canadian and English Canadian, both the French and the English came to Canada, right? But I don't get like how the French and the English merged together to form the country, because I know like you have the English speaking part and you have the French speaking part, and I think the English speaking part is the most well known. Montreal is the French speaking part, and Quebec is the English speaking part, I think.
At the age of 19, he joined the Le Régiment de la Chaudière of the Canadian Army. Their insignia underlines their fierce fighting reputation, consisting of two crossed Vickers machine guns with a beaver above supporting fleur-de-lis. Private Leo Major first saw action at D-Day in France, taking part in the Normandy landings on June 6, 1944. Straight away, he distinguished himself as a scout behind enemy lines by capturing the German communications half-track, full of secret code books. He then forced the captured crew to drive the Hanomag towards friendly lines, but was fired upon with anti-tank guns by British and Canadian troops. Leo had to climb on top of the vehicle.
Yeah, it makes sense, because by this time, like, hold on, by this time, Canada was still considered a British colony, right? So why do they say like a British and Canadian? Or was Canada, I think Canada was liberated after World War II, right?
To get them to stop firing as they drove closer.
But then again, I got a question. So if Canada is not an English colony, why do they still have a prime minister? And I think the queen had still some legitimacy in Canada, right? Before she died. And now it's the king.
And later remarked how happy he was that the British and Canadian soldiers didn't know how to shoot. When the English officer asked Leo to hand over the Hanomag, Leo refused outright, stating that it was a Quebec man who captured it, and so it was handed over to the Chaudière Regiment. His war was nearly cut short when a few days later he was scouting ahead of his unit. Leo unexpectedly encountered a patrolling elite Waffen-SS unit. In the ensuing firefight, he managed to kill 4.
Hold on, this guy went alone to scout all by himself. I mean, they said he was 18, right? So, yeah, that had to be some crazy stuff there.
4 of the enemy soldiers, but one of them, fatally wounded, managed to throw a phosphorus grenade, and Leo was hit, damaging his left eye badly. Leo was then sent to a field hospital for treatment. Leo had to wear an eye patch while his eye healed, and he remarked on how he looked like a pirate. Remarkably, he refused to be sent home, stating that he only...
This guy was crazy. You lose an eye and the only remark you have to say is that I look like a pirate. Man, Jack Sparrow.
Needed one good eye to aim a rifle. Quickly, he returned to the front line and continued to act as a scout and sniper for his unit. Shortly after returning to active service in October 1944, he was involved in the month-long Battle of the Scheldt in Holland, which involved much heavy fighting and several amphibious landings. One day during this prolonged battle, Leo's commanding officer had ordered him to find the 50 zombies who had gone missing on patrol earlier. Zombie was a slang term used by Canadian volunteers for unenthusiastic, inexperienced Canadian conscripts in the war. Leo was carrying out the reconnaissance by himself, as always wearing PT sneakers instead of heavy boots. He was deep behind enemy lines in the dark, in freezing cold rain, muttering to himself, "I am frozen and wet because of you, so you will pay."
I cannot imagine what those generations who lived through World War II, World War I and World War II, had to go through. Imagine nowadays the way we live our lives. You are free to go and do whatever you want. Like you are not expecting a war to hit you. And these people were living during World War One, and some people experienced World War One and World War Two. I can't imagine.
Drenched to the skin while not finding the zombies, he did come across a garrison of German regular troops, sleeping in trenches that they had been digging all day. Noticing a snoring German officer, Leo woke him up, pointing his Sten gun at him, and then motioned him to order his men to follow him. One soldier raised his rifle and was shot dead by Leo, followed by 3 others who joined the firefight. After this, he shouted, "Achtung!" and "Handen hoch!" and the garrison quickly decided to surrender to him.
Is that German for surrender?
Then single-handedly marched 93 German soldiers back to the Allied lines. But on the way there, they were attacked by Waffen-SS troops manning an artillery battery from a neighboring village, who were infuriated that their fellow countrymen were surrendering. This left a lasting impression on Leo. The Waffen-SS unit managed to kill and injure a number of the German prisoners before being driven off by an Allied Sherman tank. Leo then handed over 93 German prisoners to his speechless commander. For his act of bravery, Leo was awarded the Distinguished Conduct Medal, which is the second highest award in the British and Commonwealth, the Victoria Cross being the only one higher. But surprisingly, he declined the medal, feeling the British commander, General Montgomery, who was going to present him with the award, was incompetent and therefore in no position to give.
This is what you call a dedicated man, a man on a mission. Wow.
Give him that medal. Then in February 1945, as his unit was fighting in the Rhineland in Germany, the Bren gun carrier he was traveling in hit a mine, wrecking the vehicle and killing all its occupants, except Leo. He was severely injured, including 2 badly broken ankles, 4 ribs, and his back in 3 places. Leo again refused to be shipped back home, and after a short spell in a Belgian hospital, he returned to his unit in time for their final attack to clear Holland of the last of its German occupiers.
And all of this happened, all of these wounds happened before he even liberated the whole town, because they didn't talk about that yet. Some people are just born to do one thing, and this guy's life mission, life goal, was to fight the German. I don't know if he had a history before with them, or if he just wanted to exterminate their dominance of other people. Let me know down in the comment below if had they killed somebody from his family, maybe a military from a soldier from his family, so he was in a vengeance mission or something like that.
So on April 13th, 1945, the Allies were preparing to attack the large Dutch town of Zwolle, but were unsure of the strength or deployment of the German forces in the town. That evening, Leo and his friend Corporal Willie Arsenault volunteered to carry out a recon of the area. The city was planned to be bombed by Allied artillery, and this is something Leo and Willie wanted to prevent. When the two approached the outskirts of the silent town, the Germans spotted Willie after his grenade bag made a rattling noise, and he was killed by enemy machine gun fire.
Wow.
Leo took 2 of them out, but the others fled in a vehicle. He then took his friend's Sten gun, an extra bag of grenades, then laid his lifeless body on the side. So enraged.
Just imagine your friend just died, killed in front of you. Man, war, I cannot. Yeah, you gotta respect people who go to war and fight for the right cause and come back. Or even if you don't come back, I can't imagine.
Enraged was Leo that he would go on a one-man rampage that lasted the whole night, using his submachine gun and bags full of grenades. He hijacked a nearby German scout car, disarming the driver and taking his MP-40, adding a 3rd submachine gun to his inventory. Leo made him drive to a hotel, then entered a bar. There, he disarmed a German officer who could speak French to Leo, and he made him aware that the town was to be bombed by Canadian artillery, which would result in German military and civilian casualties. The officer understood, and in good faith, Leo handed him back his pistol, allowing him to drive off in the hopes that he would evacuate his troops rather than rally an attack.
Wow.
Leo moved.
This changed my whole perspective over the guy. I thought he was maybe on a vengeance mission, but willing to be able, like willing to save these people. Wow.
Moved around the town for a few hours in the dead of night, firing on any German units he came up against, throwing grenades and making as much noise around town as possible. His idea was to confuse the enemy into believing that they were under attack by a far larger Allied force storming the city. He proceeded in killing or capturing German defenders as he moved from street to street, using the local river and church as reference points so as not to get lost.
Wow.
Every time he had enough prisoners, normally between 8 to 10, he would march them back to the Allied lines and drop them off, before returning to the town to carry on his one-man assault.
How accurate is this? 'Cause, like, one man capturing all these people at the same time, like going against the whole town. I respect the guy, bro. Like, I don't know if like it happened just like this or if they beautified the story, because this is Captain America, bro. This is Steve Rogers.
He is reckoned to have done this around 10 times. 4 times in the night he had to force his way into civilian houses to rest. Although terrified by his initial appearance, once they understood he was Canadian, they looked after Leo. During his rampage, he also attacked and set light to the Gestapo headquarters, further adding to the confusion. Then, finding the SS headquarters, he engaged in a firefight, killing 4 SS officers inside.
So, SS, does they refer to SS as the Nazis, right? Because I know like you also have the URSS.
Then, later, Leo came across a group of townsmen by chance. This included a local policeman by the name of Frit Kuiper. All of these men were secretly members of the Dutch resistance. Leo then explained to them that the town was liberated. Then the group went on to take the town hall and bring the civilians out onto the streets. By 4:30 a.m., the German garrison had fled the town, and Leo had single-handedly liberated Zwolle.
Wow.
Leo retrieved his friend Willie Arsenal's body and returned to his unit, who had yet to advance into the town. On that morning of April 14th, the Allied forces entered the town without a shot being fired and without the loss of civilian life from the planned bombardment, due to Leo's outstanding bravery the previous night. For his heroism above and beyond the call of duty, he was again awarded the Distinguished Conduct Medal, and this time he accepted it. After the war, Leo left the army and returned to civilian life to resume his old job as a pipe fitter.
As a pipe, what is that? Let me do the subtitles, because I speak French, so maybe I can understand what is that.
Returned to civilian life to resume his old job as a pipe fitter.
Theater? Okay. I get it now.
With the start of the Korean War in 1950, the Canadian Army joined the United Nations forces in fighting the Communist Chinese and North Korean invasion of South Korea. Leo, though only...
This is crazy, like, we just had World War II. Barely 4 or 5 years later, you also have the Korean War, man. Humanity is...
29 years old, was seen as a veteran with a special skill set and was recruited to rejoin the army and become a member of a special scout and sniper team. Then, in November 1951, the Communists attempted to take some strategic important high ground just 40 miles away from Seoul, the South Korean capital. The fighting was based around the vitally important Hill 355, nicknamed Little Gibraltar, and Hill 277. Chinese troops had captured it from the Americans, and Leo was to recapture and hold the hill. The fighting raged for days, and the Canadian commander, Lieutenant Colonel Jacques Dextraz, declared, "In the event the battalion is attacked, there will be no withdrawal, no platoons overrun, and no panics." During the battle, Leo commanded a unit of around 18 men, repelling...
I just cannot imagine like what these men went through, and if these men were to come back, like if they were here today, imagine. I don't know if you guys know, but like the man that you see now on social media is, no, I don't want to get into trouble, but just gives you a perspective, man. Imagine no panics, no retrieval. You go, you do your job, and you know, like you either kill or you get killed. And even if you kill, you still have the potential to get killed. Man.
repelling whole Chinese divisions while
And masculinity is villainized.
enduring heavy artillery and mortar barrages for 3 days. Even though Liu had been ordered to retreat when the Chinese divisions counterattacked, he refused. Instead, he demanded that the commander of the mortar platoon, Captain Charlie Forbes, rain mortar fire on the enemy. The mortar fire was so close to Leo's position that the commander could hear the bombs explode when Leo spoke on his radio.
Wow.
And it was so intense that the mortar barrels warped from their rate of fire. For his valor and leadership under fire, Leo was awarded another Distinguished Conduct Medal for capturing and holding the Key Hill. Leo was the only Canadian to win the Distinguished Conduct Medal in 2 separate wars. He lived a quiet life afterwards, and in 2008, at the age of 87, passed away, having been married for 57 years and having 4 children.
I have respect for this man. Imagine going from World War II to the Korean War, and like in both wars you get the distinction medal. That speaks about what? Oh my god. Also, I want to shout out to, what is the channel's name? To Simple History for the animation. The animation is on point. All the time that I was watching this video, the image that came to me was Captain America. I don't know if you guys have watched, I don't know if you guys are Marvel fans or not, but back in the days, Marvel used to do good movies, and Captain America is my all-time favorite superhero, like, thing. It was like his courage, his moral values, his nobility, and all of that. And in the first Captain America, there is a scene when you see Captain America go on a solo mission and liberate the whole squadron and come back with them to his camp. This is the image I was getting while they were explaining what the one-eyed guy, I'm sorry, what is his name again? Leo. What Leo was doing in the Dutch town. Somebody commented and suggested me a video to watch about why Netherlands still celebrate, I think, Canadian Day or Canadian Independence. I'm not sure. I don't quite recall the comment, but I know like Netherlands celebrate something about Canada, and I'm pretty sure it's related to this. But yeah, this was the man of the past. This wasn't even like long ago. Like imagine from 50 years ago to where we are now. Just shows you how much the world has changed. All right, guys, if you're still here, please do not forget to leave a like. If you enjoyed the video, comment on what you want to see next, and subscribe to the channel for more content. Until next time, peace out. Be safe.